Sup guys, it's Anderson 977 here today to do Toriko. Toriko chapter 290 review. Now in this chapter of Toriko, it's basically a continuation of last week's chapter with them finally cooking Air King Ear and preparing it in the way that they wanted so that they get the maximum taste benefit from it that it should get. And we picked up right where we left off. In this chapter it's revealed that Zebra went in there to grab Komatsu at the last second so that he wasn't blown to bits. And Mappy, I think is his name, the dude who used that big shield technique to stop the air fruit from falling before it was the right time, he was right under the fruit. So I'm sure that if the fruit was to fall, he would undoubtedly get crushed. So Branchy actually went in there, because we know that Branchy is like super fast, like in the Mach 300s, right? So this dude was insanely fast, like instantaneously fast. He went in there in the nick of time, saved them from being crushed by the air fruit. And the air fruit is just there with air just completely gushing out, right? And it's revealed by the author that the air gushing out is like the total amount of air on the entire surface of Earth, right? That's the amount of air that's just gushing out of this air fruit, and it blows away all the storm clouds and everything. And they're there standing up, just looking at the scenery, the sight in amazement, right? And then the scene switches back over to Toriko's fight, right? Toriko and Hercules. Now, upon it getting back to that last week chapter, right, we saw a glimmer of hope that even though Hercules used destroy breath, right, created this vacuum. And we even got a narration last week that says that every time that Hercules uses this attack called destroy breath, this vacuum attack, everything around it always dies, as long as he can remember. For thousands upon thousands of years, there's been very few who's able to stand up to this attack. And presumably the other aching beasts, right, only them can face off against this attack. When we see Turco's face, right, we saw him with that stare, right, like that fierce stare, like I'm not going down just yet. And this chapter we get to see what really is going on. It's revealed that Turco, even though he was hit by this attack and he's in a vacuum, this chapter says that Turco's heartbeat, there was an undeniable faint but slow heartbeat nonetheless. That means that it was a given fact, and Hercules himself realized this. Even though he used vacuum destroy breath on him and created this vacuum, Toriko was not going down by that attack alone, right? He was there, he was surviving somehow, right? I'm not sure if it has anything to do with his grimaces adapting to that unique vacuum environment immediately. I'm guessing more than likely it is. But Toriko was not going on. He was alive and he was looking fierce as ever. And even though because he was struck in this vacuum situation, he couldn't necessarily make any advancing moves against Hercules. But Hercules realized enough that Toriko is one of a few exceptions to his destroy breath rule, and he was there facing off against Hercules, and Hercules pretty much got pissed off that Toriko wasn't going on to die, so he wanted to use his hoof to crush him. And he said that it was a sign of respect from Hercules in a sense, because this does not normally happen, right? And that surprised Hercules actually, that this lone human was able to stand up to him in this way, or her in this way, which is pretty surprising, nonetheless. And it even went on to say that Toriko is that type of person that he doesn't back down from a challenge, he faces it head on. So even though Toriko pretty much couldn't do much in that situation, he was still standing up pretty much big, strong and proud, facing on Hercules head on. And he was pretty much standing there willing to take whatever was going to come. So when Hercules was coming down with his hoof to crush Toriko at that last moment, Hercules realized something, and that's actually what we get a hint of last week. And I also said that maybe what sparked Hercules' interest was because it realized that because it realizes that Earth had dropped, and that huge surge of air that was starting to come about, it realizes it. That's why it stopped that's why it stopped that attack against Toriko in that instant. So upon Hercules realizing that this new influx of fresh air coming in was from the airfield, it completely forgot about Toriko, their fight, the whole situation, right? Because it's pregnant, so all it cares about now is gathering enough air for itself to give birth. And it used all its strength in its body to inhale as much air as it could, because it revealed a couple chapters back that in the whole process of the Horse King Hercules giving birth, even though it just normally breeds take like one breath for like once a year, and with that one breath it can do insane things. It can fight for how long, it can live for how long without moving on that one breath, some insane stuff, right? It pretty much drew in all the birth so that it could give birth to this new member of the Eight Kings, this new sibling. And upon it taking in breath, the scene switches back over to Komatsu and the others. When Komatsu finally came to his senses, he seemed a bit drained. I'm guessing because last week's chapter he activated that, he activated his gourmet cells and used a form similar to Froze Sama's God cooking. It had that same look to it, and I'm sure that it's the gourmet form of Komatsu. He activated his gourmet cells. I'm not sure how he got his gourmet cells. Maybe it had something to do with him being locked up by Midora for some time. Maybe Midora and the other chefs gave him gourmet cells that he doesn't know about, and maybe he had them all along, and the gourmet cells was basically laid dormant because it wasn't the right time for them to show up. Kind of similar in the way of Toriko's blue only showing up just suddenly like that. But when you actually go back and read it, you can see that it's been foreshadowed similar in that way. So he comes to his asking what's happening, and he say that if you have to get to Toriko as soon as possible. But Mappy tells him that there's no rush, because everyone on this continent will be aware of the fact that the airfield has fallen and that air has dropped. So they don't need to rush and worry for Toriko, because basically Mappy is telling them that they don't need to worry about Toriko right now. Hercules wouldn't be concerned about fighting Toriko in this situation. So that's actually what saves Toriko. Them preparing air and letting the airfield drop to provide the air, the influx of air that Hercules needs to give birth. That's actually what stops their fight. And the screen switches back over to Toriko, and he's there standing up. He realizes that the same line of horses that was there with Hercules before is now standing up watching him and Hercules like they are. And he even commented that for the horses there, it seemed like they were kind of doing it as a show of respect for him and Hercules at the same time. And the reason why Coco, Kiss, and Coco, Kiss, and Queen, right? Yeah, that's the three names. The reason why Coco, Kiss, and Queen all went to the location of where this fight was going on was for them to kind of, actually for them to get a glimpse at their future rival, a new member of the Eight Kings, right? This new horse that Hercules had given birth to. And upon Hercules giving birth, Hercules immediately looks aged. Pretty much, it immediately gets the white hair, and it's there laying down looking like a mother. So it aged immediately, because I'm guessing because it requires such a huge amount of energy to give birth to this Heracules. And it's even narrated that for the first time in tens of thousands of years, a new Heracules is now running over the rainbows to go to the other continents to continue this whole entire process, that's been around since forever, from the beginning. Because with the whole nature coming in and harvesting the fruits before they were ripe, this has not happened for a very long time. And the whole continent and the Horse King himself, everything about it was just in decline because of the whole nature's involvement, but things were different. So we finally get to see the new member of the Horse King, the baby king, the set off, and it has this beastly look. I'm not lying, it looks beastly in that pose. It looks awesome. It runs off along its merry way. Now there are certain things that I'm kind of questionable about, like before Right before we get to the point of them even confronting the Husky, it's revealed that Joa, fake Frozen, right? Joa, it's revealed that she is out to get all of the ingredients of Acacia's full course, right? And it's even stated by her that she does not want to share them with anyone. But Komatsu and the others have harvested the air fruit already, and we get to see absolutely no signs, no involvement from Neo or anyone else. So I'm guessing that maybe they had some confrontation that happened while they were harvesting the air fruit, and we probably get to realize why they pretty much harvested this air fruit with no problems, not much at all really, without any outside influences. Neo didn't show up. I was expecting them to show up to provide a challenge to Toriko and his group, but they didn't show up, and I don't think it would be necessary or relevant for them to show up at this point. The air fruit is already harvested, and it's huge and it's humongous. So yeah, at this point it doesn't make sense for them to show up. Maybe the other ingredients that Turk and his group are going to get, then they will show up, then they will pose, the challenge for Turk and his group to overcome. But right now they didn't show up, so Turk and his group pretty much have this one in the saddle already, pretty much done already. But overall I thought it was another amazing chapter of Turk. I loved it very much. We get to see a new member of the A Kings being born. So that's it. That's my review. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Sayonara.